Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, folks throughout Appalachia are picking up the pieces after flooding last weekend. And the Trump administration continues its sweeping government overhaul.
And we had a break from the precipitation, but now we're talking about snow. We'll plot everything out with Future View coming up in a few minutes.
Dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Amelia Lee. Many folks in our area are still trying to bounce back following the rain we received during the weekend. Now there's more severe weather heading our way, but of a different kind. Meteorologist Eric Dean joins us now on this first alert weather day. Eric, what can we expect?
So right now we're going to see mainly cloudy skies for the next couple of hours, but snow chances will start to pick up. Here's the latest with live pinpoint Doppler radar. You can see the radar scans sweeping eastern Kentucky, and we'll go ahead and go over towards portions of Logan County just to the east of Mount Gay to the north of the Robinette area. We are seeing a little bit of snow being picked up. Now our system is still off to the west. You can see it right here on the satellite and radar composite across portions of western Kentucky, southern Illinois, Missouri, over towards portions of Arkansas. That's going to push through as we go throughout the evening and overnight hours. And temperatures right now downright chilly. We're seeing temperatures in the 20s and 30s, 29 Jackson, 30 in Hazard, 33 in Manchester. Harlan, good evening to you. You're at 35, 32 in Williamsburg, Jacksboro, one of the warm spots at 37 degrees. So we'll drop down to 17 for tonight. We'll start the evening off with clear skies, cloudy skies, excuse me. Snow chances will pick up as we go throughout the overnight hours, and they will continue throughout the day on Wednesday. We'll time everything out and give you the latest call for snowfall totals coming up in the first alert forecast in a few minutes. Amelia.
All right, thank you, Eric. Well, flooding rocked many parts of eastern Kentucky, including in Letcher County. One woman there is now without a car after trying to drive through high waters. WYMT's Mackenzie Freeman spoke with a mechanic about the dangers of driving through flooded waters.
Days after the flood, families are still feeling the impacts. In Letcher County, Edwin Adams' daughter is without a car after hitting high water late Saturday night.
She hit the water, it flooded her car, destroyed her car, and now she's without a car.
Water was sucked into the engine, and in cases where older cars get damaged like this, the cost to repair may not be worth the car.
So it's, in my opinion, it's unrepairable. It's repairable, but not at a cost that's feasible for the car.
Besides wanting his daughter to have a car, Adam's main concern was that there was no warning about the high water.
There was no signage up that night, and that's just it. How was she to know the water was in the road?
Driving through high water can cause a lot of damage to your car. But just what kind of damages are we looking at?
If you get water internally in the engine, you're going to run into a lot of problems.
Worst case scenario, an engine being completely shot can cost thousands of dollars to fix.
If you're a complete engine, you're anywhere from $2,500 and up, and that's not counting repair costs. That's just, the price of the engine.
With the winter weather also coming up, that could pose driving risks as well. Michael Riley says there is only so much you can do to prepare.
Make sure you got good tread on your tires, or there's not a lot you can do besides driving safe.
Not only can driving in hazardous conditions pose a threat to the vehicle itself, it can cause damage to something more valuable, life.
And the main thing that's going to end up with some kind of harm one way or the other is going to be the person in the vehicle, or your children, whatever you have in there.
As the winter weather approaches, be sure you are aware of road conditions. In Whitesburg, Mackenzie Freeman, WYMT Mountain News.
Many places in Kentucky are still reeling after the effects of flooding caused by heavy rainfall. Parts of Virginia are still trying to rebound as well. At least 50 people and several animals were rescued during the weekend in the Richlands area. According to Virginia Task Force 4, Governor Glenn Youngkin says that state remains in a state of emergency.
We are still under a state of emergency, and I cannot be more clear. We declared this now 10 days ago, but I need everybody to understand that the state of emergency continues, and if there wasn't one that had already been declared, I would be declaring one today.
Governor Youngkin also urged folks to stay at home and off the roads with a major winter storm approaching later this week. Today, Tennessee Governor Bill Lee is surveying storm damage in Middle and West Tennessee. There were a couple of areas that were hit hard by last weekend's severe weather and flooding. Governor Lee is meeting with survivors and local officials of the areas affected by the severe weather. Kentucky Power is hosting a donation drive for those impacted by flooding in the mountains. Sarah Nussbaum with Kentucky Power says donations will be accepted throughout the week. Folks can drop off items from 9 until 5 tomorrow and Thursday at Kentucky Power's headquarters in Ashland. Nussbaum says they are looking for trash bags, buckets, mops, and brooms, hygiene items, including soap and toothpaste.
We're going to make sure that all of these donations go down to our Southeast Territory, where our customers were affected by the flooding.
The donations will be put in a truck sometime during the afternoon on Friday. Investigators continue to look into what happened when a Delta plane flipped over while landing in Toronto. A spokesperson with Delta Airlines says 19 out of the 21 passengers were taken to local hospital. Yesterday's crash marked the 5th high-profile plane crash in North America within the last 3 weeks. It's the second recent crash involving a U.S. airline after there was a collision between an Army helicopter and an American Airlines jet near Washington, D.C. Delegations from the United States and Russia have begun talks in Saudi Arabia over how to end the war in Ukraine. The meeting came together quickly after President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin spoke on the phone last week. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says his country was not invited to the negotiations and says any deal made without Ukraine will not be recognized. President Trump's Department of Government Efficiency workers are embedding themselves in government agencies and trying to access sensitive information for millions of Americans. CBS's Erica Brown has more details from Washington.
Cut the budget deficit in half.
The White House is seeking to clarify Elon Musk's role as a special advisor to President Trump rather than the official head of their Department of Government Efficiency.
President Trump is the ultimate decision maker for this entire administration. Elon Musk, just like everybody else across the federal government, works at the direction of President Trump.
The acting Social Security Commissioner resigned her post after DOJ pushed for access to sensitive records. And CBS News has learned Musk's team inside the IRS is working to access private taxpayer data. Democratic Senator John Fetterman, who originally said he was okay with DOJ efforts, responded on social media saying, "I want to save billions of your money and make our government more efficient. Rummaging through your personal stuff is not that." A White House official confirms to CBS News that a DOJ worker is seeking access to the IRS database, saying information is needed to root out fraud, waste, and abuse at the agency. Some voters say they're concerned DOJ employees are working without any oversight.
I just don't understand how all this can happen and there's no control over it. And we've got people in the Oval Office now that aren't politicians, that have no right to be making these decisions.
But many Trump supporters applaud the administration's efforts.
The spigot has got to stop. This has just been ridiculous. The money that has been found, billions of dollars. This is stolen money from the taxpayers.
President Trump indicated Musk's team would be headed to the Pentagon, and CBS News has learned DOJ representatives have been there for meetings. Erica Brown, CBS News, Washington.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says he welcomes DOJ efforts inside the Pentagon and says he expects to find billions in savings. Hegseth said they will be looking to possibly cut climate programs in the Department of Defense. Well, at least 700 employees from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have been fired since Friday. Firings have been happening at several federal agencies, including the Food and Drug Administration and the National Institutes of Health. According to a source, the cuts include training programs at the CDC. The Epidemic Intelligence Service appears to have been spared for now. Vice President J.D. Vance does not believe barring the Associated Press from White House press briefings is a threat to free speech. He posted on social media that there's a difference between giving a reporter a seat in the briefing room and jailing them for dissenting views. The White House has indefinitely banned the AP from the Oval Office and Air Force One. It comes as the news agency continues to use the name Gulf of Mexico in its reporting. The head of the U.S. Postal Service is stepping down. Postmaster General Louis DeJoy asked the USPS to begin the process of identifying his successor. He's pushed for major cost cutting at USPS since he took the job as Postmaster General in 2020, with the goal of making the post office, which has lost $100 billion since 2007, profitable. USPS did not say when DeJoy plans to step down.